After 25 million years of evolution, the world's rhinos are under threat of extinction within our lifetime. There are approximately only 25,000 left worldwide, and 80% of these are here in South Africa. We are at the very heart of this crisis. A vocal lobby believes that simply legalizing the trade in rhino horn will flood the market, drive prices down, and thereby stop poaching. And for this reason, the South African government is looking to legalize the trade in rhino horn. A growing constituency, both in Africa and abroad, believes that such a decision is based on flawed arguments, and that the risks of illegal trade have not been properly assessed.
To change the status, the burden of proof lies with those advocating trade. They need to prove beyond reasonable doubt that A, it will significantly enhance the survival of the species, and B, it will significantly reduce poaching. That's what they have to prove.
All the papers that maintain a pro-trade position tend to have a rather weak command of economic theory. There is no underlying data that supports the arguments. And if you don't have the data that tells you that markets are actually going to behave as you assume, your argument becomes very weak. And following that, those type of solutions become actually very dangerous.
In the international discussion, the only voices that are being heard are the people who are in support of trade using thin economics.
On the most plausible market configurations, trade legalization will not reduce but rather preserve and reinforce illegal trade.
My prediction is that it will get much worse. What they will do is take advantage of some legal trade to launder more illegal horn.
It makes it so easy for them. Criminals don't need a lot of help in this field, so if there's a legal market, they will launder it in, and that's happening already.
Just because you have a legalised trade in rhino horn doesn't mean that it's going to wipe out the illegal trade. It didn't do that with cigarettes, it didn't do that with alcohol. I mean, cigarette and alcohol illegal trade is worth billions around the world each year.
Surely there are lessons to be learned from the history of the elephants. Did the one-off sale of ivory stocks to Japan and China in 1999 stop the poaching?
No. Did the sale of ivory reduce prices and undercut the illegal trade? No. Instead of flooding the market and reducing the cost of ivory as a means of eliminating poaching to supply the illegal market, the opposite is now the case. And there's now more illegal ivory on the marketplace in China than ever before. Parallel legal markets can never really be effectively regulated. The Chinese system has been a monumental failure.
Rhino have been killed because of a poaching epidemic that is fueled by increasing numbers of consumers.
Vietnam needs a clear signal from South Africa to assist with the law enforcement at the destination country, not confusing messages. One day you say help us fight criminals, and the second day you say no, let's just sell these things and let people use rhino horns. That's very confusing.
The pro-trade lobby may argue that enforcement has been tried and tested, and that because this hasn't worked, the only solution is trade. But this is a flawed argument because it assumes that laws are being implemented, and clearly they're not.
We can't control poaching. How are we going to control poaching and a sophisticated legal trading mechanism with our levels of corruption and our levels of crime?
If South Africa wants to get legal rhino horn trade, it must come up with a proposal. That proposal must be put to the Conference of the Parties. That has to be approved by 66% or more of the parties attending. South Africa would have to get 107 votes. We only have to tip up to about 55 votes against, and the blocking minority prevents it. You know what I would suggest to the South African government? Don't bother. The wise move now is work together, come up with solutions that are going to truly protect rhino, drive down demand, address the poaching issue, better enforcement, proper judicial training and application and compliance, and walk away from this issue.
We were in this mire before, got out of it by addressing the markets.
If you're buying Rhino Horn, you may be paying for more than just horn. You're paying for guns, bullets, poison arrows, chainsaws, axes, and machetes to hack off the face of the rhino. And you are paying for the life of a beautiful creature. So please tell your friends and relatives, never buy products made from rhino horn. When the buying stops, the killing can too.
The arguments for a legal trade in rhino horn are based on a weak economic theory. A legal product will promote laundering of the illegal product, and together they will fuel demand. A legal trade cannot be enforced. CITES is highly unlikely to approve legal trading. Reducing demand can work. A legal trade will not stop poaching.